47. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardha Jasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Brajajana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Astottara Satashi Shri Maharaj Divine Grace Sabai Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Gaura Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, 9th Canto, Chapter 6, text number 47. The Downfall of Saubhari Muni is the title of the chapter. Yad grahastayam tu samvikshya Shapta dviphavati pati Vishmitaha stambham ajahat Sarvabhauma Sriyanvitam Yadgarhastayam tu samvikshya Saptadviphavati pati Vishmitastambham ajahat Sarvabhauma Sriyanvitam. Sarvahasyam tu samvikshat Ladies, please. Yat, he whose Garhastayam, family life, householder life, tu, but, samvikshya, observing, Shaptadvipavati pati, Mandhata, who was the king of the entire world, consisting of 7 islands. Vishmitaha was struck with wonder. Stambam, pride due pride due to a prestigious position. Ajahat, he gave up. Sarvabhauma, the emperor of the entire world. Shriya Anvitam, blessed with all kinds of opulence. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Sila Prabhupada ki Jaya. Everyone is proud of his own position, but here was an astounding experience in which the emperor of the entire world felt himself defeated in all details of material happiness by the opulence of Saubhari Muni. Om Ganatimarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. My spiritual master has forced me to open my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto His lotus feet. Please excuse me, that time of the morning when temperatures change and your nose drips a little bit and all of that. So this morning we're continuing the story of Saubhari Muni and his downfall from his meditation. We hear of Saubhari Muni as sitting submerged in the water. So how enthusiastic he must have been to come out of the material entanglement, so much enthusiastic. He's submerged himself in water. Seclusion completely, no one can bother you. So the meditation was very focused. But even in such a position, one can be distracted. So what to speak of our position? He's there in the bottom of the ocean, and still there happens to be something that might distract him. And we walk out of the temple, and the cell phone goes, and the car, and you go past the shops, and there's advertisements for this, that, everything. We were talking about the advertisements last night, some of the devotees, and we were just talking how Srila Prabhupada had the amazing power to penetrate any illusory manifestation. So one time there was you call it billboard? Is that still hoarding in India? It's called hoarding somehow, like that big bill poster. And Srila Prabhupada, I'm trying to think, there's two times he was saying, there was an advertisement, Prabhupada, but what is this? And a big advertisement, cool. And it was an advertisement for cigarettes. And Srila Prabhupada said, how can it be cool? You're taking a fire and you're lighting, and there's smoke and fire. Cannot be cool. But the illusion is that people see, and they see the word, and it says, cool. You do this. And there's two uses of the word cool. You could be real cool if you're smoking your cigarette. And it's also the idea that there's going to be, it's going to taste cool. So I think even in that, maybe they put a little menthol or something in the cigarette. So this is called the illusory energy. And it's everywhere. And this section of the Bhagavatam is pointing to the most captivating of all the illusory aspects of life. Pumsa striya maituni bhavam tayor mito. What's the next word? Pumsa striya maituni bhavam tayor mito ridaya granti ahur. Ato griha chetra sutapta veter janasya mohoyam aham mameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. And under this misconception that I am this body and connection with the opposite sex will bring me pleasure in the form of home, society, children, and wealth. And this we increase the whole idea of things are mine, I and mine, aham mameti. So it's kind of easy to come out of that illusion by hearing, like we're hearing just now, but no sooner do we hear, and then the material energy comes back in, and then we're bewildered. I mentioned that the other day. We have to take our bath every day. You can't say we had a bath for the last 6 days, so we'll just skip today. No, you have to take your bath every day. Why? Because we become dirty very quickly. We become polluted, contaminated, especially the mouth. We have to rinse the mouth constantly as much as we can. So similarly, our consciousness becomes polluted at every moment, at every turn. Therefore, Prabhupada said, we have to engage in this Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day. And when we heard that in Melbourne temple, devotees would say, 24 hours a day. And I would say to my good wife, 24 hours a day? That's pretty intense, isn't it? That's 24 hours a day. And then one devotee said to us, would you like to come to the early program, the early morning program? I thought, we're coming to the early program. We're here at 7 o'clock in the morning. Somebody told us you could come and greet the deities and like that. I said, oh, well, there's another program. It starts at 4:30. It's like, wow, 4:30. What an ungodly time. But actually we found out it was a godly time. It's the time for the Brahma Muhurta, the auspicious time. And this process of Krishna consciousness, I was just experiencing it this morning. Moment to moment, it's such a wonderful program. It's called the ISKCON Sandwich, Srila Prabhupada mentioned. So you have sadhana in the morning, that's the bottom part, and in the evening you have sadhana, you have arti, you have kirtan at home, like that. I remember here in the temple, we were not allowed to get initiated. The temple president at that time was Balaram Prabhu. He called me into the office. He said, you up for initiation soon, but we've noticed that you're not coming for the final part of the program. So we'd gone from 4:30 in the morning till about 8 o'clock, 8:30, little prasadam, jump in the van, off you go. We went off to, used to be a place called Spiritual Sky. There's a little factory, a little place, like a place, a warehouse. And we go there. Then you come home, so you're busy all day, and we were listening all day to recordings of Prabhupada's lectures and Krishna book recordings. And then we'd come home and go to the prasadam, get back for prasadam. And then we did a silly thing. We used to take a cold bath straight after prasadam. Wasn't a great idea, that cold bath. Maybe a warm bath would be better because you've just eaten and your digestion will be killed by the cold bath. You just tighten up. But anyway, after a few years, so we'd do like that. But the program wasn't finished, so after prasad we lived in a little flat just up the road a little bit at that time. And then you'd have to rush back for arti. So then after arti was, what was next? Krishna book? Was hot milk first or was Krishna book? We didn't do it together. Yeah. Who was it? Someone was designated to read. I'm sorry, Prabhu? Someone was designated to read because he had suchi. Okay, thank you. Yeah, like that. So we hadn't been coming for the hot milk in Krishna book. And so we thought, wow, we better tighten up and come so it was like 24 hours a day. But then Srila Prabhupada goes on from there. In one purport he says, 24 hours a day, every minute. And then there's another short sentence after that little sentence, every minute. Next short sentence, every second. So Prabhupada, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And I was noticing in the program this morning how it's been so nicely followed here, especially here. So nice. It goes from this thing to that thing. The pujaris are active earlier in the morning. They're preparing everything for us to come, and then we can take... I didn't come to the Mangalari this morning, so... we go from one thing to the next, then we're bowing down, and we're taking darshan, and we're thinking, yes, yes. And then we go to the next thing. Oh, Charanamrita. Oh, that's another consciousness. Take the Charanamrita. Oh, that's nice. So you've just been chanting Hare Krishna, And then what's next? And you get up and you greet the deities and you're absorbed in that. And then it's Charnamrita, you're absorbed in that. Well, that's extra specially nice. And then we're off for Guru Puja. Then there's a meditation on Guru Puja. And you think, oh, that's nice, Prabhupada. And then it's Bhagavatam class and this way. This is the process for Anarto Pashamam Shad Bhakti Yoga Adhoksajaya in the beginning of the second canto. All the anartas, unwanted things, unnecessary things, can be destroyed by the process of Bhakti Yoga. They're described as being superfluous to us, to the living entity. All the sufferings, all the things that we are having to struggle with in this material world can be only by this process can they be taken away. So people are searching all the time. They live their whole lives trying to overcome the difficulties, isn't it? Making an adjustment. And they think that by making an adjustment, then I'll be okay. I'll be properly situated. But no sooner do you overcome that difficulty, there's another difficulty. And then we think, yeah, I have to overcome that one. And it just keeps going on and on. So Bhagavatam says, if you're interested to come out of the difficulties that you've created by your own mental concoctions, this is the process. It's called Bhakti Yoga. But the process has to be executed very tivrena, very, what's that word? How would we translate? Who can tell me a translation for tivrena? Intense. Who said that? Oh, sorry, I couldn't see who spoke. Intense. So it's intense. And then we think, intense. Why do I want to be intense? But it doesn't mean anxiety intense, but it means focus. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekkiha kurunandaram bahushaka yanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So it's splayed into the material existence. So our process is to take control again of our wayward senses and mind, bring it under control and focus it and focus it and focus it. Arjuna said, I don't think I can do this, Krishna. Isn't it? Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. This mind is very difficult to, I think it's impossible. It's more difficult in trying to control the wind. So Arjuna was good at putting up good arguments, so it was a very powerful argument. Then Krishna agreed with him. Asam saham mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna, it is undoubtedly very difficult. So Arjuna might be thinking, yes. Then Krishna says, but it is possible by constant practice and detachment. So this is the path of bhakti. In I think it's the later chapter, maybe it's 10th canto, I'm not sure exactly which canto. The demigods headed by Lord Brahma, they ask this very important question about those who are not engaged in bhakti, because the bhakti yogis are engaged fully in absorption in the lotus feet of the Lord, and they ask, what happens to others who are engaged in activities like yoga, meditation, and great austerities? What happens to them? And the answer was given that unless they take to bhakti, they will still be their own separate concept or idea, that they're separate entities from the supreme entity. Srila Prabhupada mentions that as separate interest, and you used the word a separatist. So we think a separatist kind of means someone who's kind of places themselves separate from everyone else. So that's like a separatist. But in this usage, it means that we place ourselves, we see ourselves, identify ourselves as being a separate entity from Krishna. And it seems very much that way, that that's the position. But it's not reality. That's the illusion. Just like the finger. The finger has no separate existence. but it connects in different ways and it can do things. But it's connected to the whole. So similarly, we are eternally parts of the Supreme Lord. And we are just like the finger meant to give service to the whole body. And there's a whole arrangement for everything to work properly. If the finger is working properly, it'll take the rasgulla, put it in the mouth. The mouth doesn't say, well, this is it, I'm not giving it up. It keeps it there forever. You have to give it to the stomach. Then the stomach will replenish the hands and everything will be done. So we've got ourselves in a bit of a difficult position. We're here in the material world and we're separated ourselves. And as we go on in this Kali Yuga, we will see that we become more and more separated, isolated. But we don't see it. Pashyati, na pashyati. We see it, but we don't see it. My cell phone, my computer, I and mine, it's all belonging. And we see people sitting, we do it ourselves as devotees. Hopefully we try to utilize it and we're connecting to Krishna through the use like that. But people separate themselves, isolated. So there's a lot of mental illness. It's said that in this modern time, over the next 20 years or so, the greatest, medical issue will be health problems. More and more people are feeling the pangs of that isolation, separation. So the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is encouraging us then to develop this idea more and more that we are part and parcel of the Supreme. And it's such a beautiful thing because we hear that Krishna is the Supreme and we are His servants. And for a materialist, it's not received very well. That there's a master, and sorry to inform you, you're not the master. You're just a little servant. It's like, oh no, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear how I can be the master. But what they don't know is that when you become the servant, and we understand that if you become the topmost servant, you actually can be the master of Krishna. Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the gopis, Krishna becomes controlled by the love. Such a beautiful arrangement, huh? The God Himself, the Supreme Lord, His greatest pleasure is to serve His devotees. But only He will serve us according to our reciprocation, our ability to serve Him. Then He can reveal Himself more and more. I was thinking last night, one person asked a question at the program we were attending, and this young lady was saying, but how come I've been chanting and stuff, but still I've got all these problems and miseries, and I see other people, they're not chanting and they seem to be so happy. A bit like that. And Krishna was really kind. I was standing in front of Gaur-Nitai, and I was remembering, I used to go in the morning when we used to bathe with tilak in the morning, so that was my service a little bit, to go in and we'd polish the deities like that. So, and what happened actually was I got this amazing infection. It was, the doctors at the hospital said they'd never seen such an infection for years. They hardly could imagine. And it started, I've still got a little scar just here in this knuckle, and it went all the way up through my hand. It was totally infected, right up through my arm. And so I finally went to the hospital. And I connected it to my offenses, if you, in retrospect, look back. Very impure, you're coming to try and begin the process of this devotion. And then someone could say, but this is terrible. You think that because you were serving Krishna in that way, that now you're suffering so bad. Why would you serve such a person that gives you all this trouble? But then there's another verse, we know, Tattenukam Pamsu Samikshamanam, that verse that says that we should realize this is the special mercy of purification. And devotees used to say that. It used to be quite a thing. We still say it, but when someone's sick, we used to say, oh, it's just purification, Prabhu. And it's like, oh, thanks a lot. You feel as though you're going to die or something. Purification, Prabhu. Thank you. I appreciate your kindness. But it's a fact. So Krishna was so kind. I'm saying this, don't think that I'm very Krishna conscious, but we can see what's possible when we hear from Shastra, that Krishna is giving some difficulty to purify and to allow us to take shelter. Recently my son broke his wrist. This was an interesting one. And he got great purification. We were out kicking a ball, so the devotees were doing. Since I told you I used to kick a ball, so if you put me on a flat grass and put a ball there, I'm completely bewildered. It's like that. Anyway, we were kicking around. So my son went, everyone was taking a turn of going in goal, the goalkeeper. No one wants to be the goalkeeper. Although Srila Prabhupada, when he played football as a little boy, he played as goalkeeper. And he was very lazy intelligent. That's the most intelligent. So he thought, I'm doing something here, but let me go in goals. I don't want to do all this running around, you know. That I'll be part of the thing, like that. So he was intelligent. Anyway, so my son was there. So it was his turn to be in goal for one goal. You get out after you let one go. So someone kicked the ball. And my son just went up to stop it from going into the goal. Crack. Broke his wrist. And there was a tumor. We went to the hospital to set the bone and the whole thing, and the nurse said, there's something we have to tell you. There's a tumor in that part of your bone. So then he had to go for all the tests and MRI, all the stuff, and they found they had to remove 2 inches of bone. They had to take the whole bone out of his wrist because the tumor had eaten away the inside of the bone, and when the ball hit it, it just went smashed completely. So it was a great trauma, and then obviously there was the test to see if it was, what do you call it, malignant, to see if it had traveled. So fortunately, not so much. So it looks pretty good. It's taken about 8 months to heal. This is the modern world. They imported a bone from America. There's a place, I don't know, maybe you can get bones in Australia, but they've got a whole, online, the surgeons go onto the program and they see these body parts and stuff and get it delivered, and next week you got... So they successfully put that piece of bone in there. And the reason I'm telling you all this, the difficulty, but the difference it's made to my son. He's initiated now, and from Devamrita Maharaj, and he was chanting and stuff, but boy, he is really serious about his spiritual life now. Because he saw that I'm no longer a little boy in Melbourne, I'm no longer a youth at the Mayapur Gurukula, I'm 47 years old. I say to him, you're an old man. And I have to think, well, what does that make me? So he learned so much and is so fixed that this is the only important thing in my life is my Krishna consciousness. And let me do my duty nicely, but he's so into it. So he would come every night, my wife and I would be at home, and he would come round and we'd watch Vaisheshika Prabhu was doing his Bhagavatam recital in New Govardhan, so it's a really nice program. If you get a chance, it's a real nice one to tune into. So we'd sit at home and watch the videos being telecast and do that in the evening. So the difficulties will come upon us, and they're all meant for our purification. So Saubhari Muni had the difficulty. He thinks he's completely cut off from everything, and somehow or other, fish comes along and they're copulating, and somehow it triggers the desire to also enjoy in that way. And the rest is a big story, and we're hearing about the story. And in this specific verse, there's so many things covered in this section, but Mandhata, the king of the entire world, consisting of 7 islands, was struck with wonder when he saw the household opulence of Saubhari Muni. So he saw that and he thought, this is amazing. I thought I was the top man. But here, Saubhari Muni, we heard yesterday, hands up if you were not in the class yesterday. Put your hand up if you weren't here. Okay, so we'll read that because it will give you some context of what the king is feeling. So in the previous verse it says, Saubhari Muni's already changed his material manifest body from being an old crinkled, you can imagine, you know what a prune is like? So if you know what it's like, you go in for a hot bath or something, your skin crinkles and so on. So he'd been in there for thousands of years, so his skin was completely, and he was very old and like that. So he changed his body to become a very, very beautiful young man. And the princesses, the king had kind of insulted Saubhari. Said, well, if you want, you're begging for a queen, a princess, and they can marry you if they want, basically. And he's saying, well, they're not going to marry you. Have a look at yourself. So he thought about that and he made the adjustment. He became a young man. All the princesses, all 50, wanted to marry him. Sounds like a lovely story, but then, as you can imagine, 50 ladies with one husband, and they're all arguing, oh, but he should have married me, and there's not enough of him to go around of all. That became a problem in itself. So, part of his manifestation then was, they accepted him, and then, yeah, I'll read that one too. Thereafter, the princesses, being attracted by Saubhari Muni, gave up their sisterly relationship. They thought in terms of I and mine. I want to be with him, and he's mine. And you've got 50 thinking like that, it's a bit of a problem. They gave up their sisterly relationship and quarreled amongst themselves, each one of them contending, this man is just suitable for me and not for you. In this way, there ensued a great disagreement. So when we see again, when we think in terms of I and mine, again, last night another billboard we saw, this is why, we saw another billboard, and it was advertising your new home. And it said one of the key factors for advertising it that you might be interested to purchase this new home would be that your home will be the envy of everyone. So they were promoting envy. So yes, I'll get that house and everyone will be envious of me. Again, they say these, but they don't realize if everyone's envious with you, you're going to have all kinds of difficulties. Therefore, the materialist is described as mudha, foolish, unintelligent, not very bright. And we shouldn't think that we're very bright. The only real bright persons are the Paramahamsas, who are actually established completely in connection with the Supreme. And we can get light from those great souls. And that's why we're attracted when we come into the association of such a great personality. It's so attractive. We think, I would love to be like that person, freed from the anarthas and fully connected to Krishna and manifesting all these beautiful qualities. It's so attractive. And then Prabhupada would say, yeah, come along, no problem. Start the chanting. It will happen. Just take a little time. I mentioned that the other day too, that Mother Devahuti, when Kapila Dev was explaining to her how this material manifestation comes about, so she heard it, and she was very intelligent. She saw, this is amazing. The way you're explaining this, it seems to me impossible for the jiva to come out of this give me a word. Come out of what? Entanglement. Yeah, thank you. She said like that. It seems it's created so perfectly to bewilder the living entity, and even when he tries to come out, he gets bewildered. Captured like that. So Kapila Dev replied to his mother over a few verses, in 3 or 4 verses, he said, it is possible. You want to know how it's possible? Anybody interested? Yeah, we want to know how it's possible. By hearing for a long time. By hearing for a long time. That's why we hear Nityam Bhagavata Seva. We have to hear regularly, constantly. If we hear like that, it is possible. And why? Because Krishna will see the sincerity of the heart. We mentioned this also. Bhavagrahi Janardhan. Krishna is known. And in that name, he's known to know, he knows our internal desire. So if our internal desire is sense gratification, that's as far as we'll get with Krishna. He'll provide gratification. All those things can be there. If it's Krishna consciousness, but in a certain mood, then Krishna will reciprocate and provide Krishna consciousness according to our mood. So we are trying to always elevate our consciousness so that we can actually come before the Lord with sincerity and Krishna akama savakama uva moksha karma udat. Whether we are full of material desires, whether we have no material desires, whether we desire liberation, we should take shelter of the Lord. And Krishna will give us opportunity after opportunity to review what we want. And we can make our choice. We can choose. Krishna, again, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying like that. Now I've explained everything to you, Arjuna. Deliberate on everything that I've explained and then do as you want to do. It's over to you. So we can, we should continue. And when we get to a certain level, we may stay there for some time. Continue, go further, keep going. If we fall back, we should just close our Bhagavad Gita, give it away, and just go back to material. No. We simply have to do like Saubhari. And the Bhagavatam is filled with the stories of great souls who had difficulty in executing their spiritual life. They gained association, instruction. They gained whatever they needed to come back on the path and continue. So that is one lesson to be learned from all of this. And it happens at all levels. From great emperors, they learn lessons by seeing this opulence of Saubhari Muni. Then this great king, hold on, just make sure I've got this right. We're on 47, is it? So let's read 45, 46. Because Saubhari Muni was expert in chanting mantras perfectly, his severe austerities resulted in an opulent home with garments, ornaments, properly dressed and decorated maidservants and manservants, and varieties of parks with clear water lakes and gardens. In the gardens, fragrant with varieties of flowers, birds chirping and bees humming, surrounded by professional singers. Saubhari Muni's home was amply provided with valuable beds, seats, ornaments, and arrangements for bathing. And there were varieties of sandalwood creams, flower garlands, and palatable dishes. What do you think? If I can take you there, will you go? I remember, you know Prabhu? He's like one of the pillars of Melbourne Temple. He's been here forever. So Prabhu used to speak, and he's such an honest soul, actually. He would say, he would be sitting speaking in the Bible, he said, all I want to do is go to the heavenly planets. And we think, we don't want to go to the heavenly planets. But you just heard this description, and the flower plane is ready to take off in half an hour, and you can go there for 1 million years or 5-10 million years and just enjoy these things. Beautiful. And you can chant Hare Krishna too even. You want to come? And chances are you'll be like, well, let me on board. It's not bad. And Krishna doesn't mind. This is the amazing thing actually. Krishna doesn't mind. Krishna's not envious. If we want to go there, Krishna hasn't got a problem with it. He's happy for you he'd rather that you come home back to Godhead, but just like a parent with their children, children want to do something, so you say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And you try and dissuade them, but sometimes you have to allow. So we can choose whatever it is, and I think I'm going to finish there. Yeah, let's finish there. What time? I don't know. Yeah, because we've got programs and stuff, right? There's things happening. And you all have to take prasadam after that fasting yesterday. I find at the Codicy sometimes I eat more. Isn't it? Sometimes. And one devotee last night, I won't mention anyone's name, but he was actually fasting. He was very humble actually about it, because he didn't want to say I'm fasting, but we saw that he actually had been fasting. And he said, I'm trying to keep busy, because if I sit down, someone will put a plate of prasad in front of me and I'll eat it, because it's like a trigger. A plate of prasad in front of you, you can't say, oh, I'm fasting. It's like, oh, okay. So, why was I talking about that? Anybody can remember why? I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so you need to have breakfast. Sorry, I better finish up. Any reflections on anything that we've been discussing a little bit? Please feel free if there's anything in this story that's with you. Not even what we've been discussing, but anything about this story that captures your thoughts. You could maybe reflect it back. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the lovely class. The question I had is, when we fall down in our bhakti, we get up again and start, and then reassociate and restructure ourselves and get back into track. But when we fall down, there's always a guilt that you've fallen down. So how do you deal with that guilt?
Oh, it's a perfect question, and I've got the perfect answer, believe it. That sounds very proud, but the perfect answer, and I don't know, I couldn't give you a reference for practically any verse, but the reference for this one is 11th canto, 20th chapter, text 27 and 28. The answer is completely there. I'll try and remember it and show off a little bit. I don't know, but anyway. Jata shraddha matkatashu nirvina sarva karmeshu. Being disgusted with all material activities, having awakened attraction for hearing the message, but still being unable, not having the power to fully give up all sense gratification at all times. Krishna says, my devotees should remain happy. Tato bhajeta mam pritaha. Pritaha, that word I know, is happy. So, devotees should remain happy and continue worshipping me with great faith and devotion. Even though he sometimes engages in sense gratification, my devotee should... Now, how does he say it? Who knows? Oh, I thought you... My devotee should... and garhayan is the last word. Garhayan means he should be repentful. So you've got a kind of paradox where we're supposed to be happy and repentful. But that's the way of spiritual life. You're supposed to be sober and jolly. So how do you do that? You learn how to do it. We learn how to do those things. So we have to remain happy, not beat ourselves up, become so overwhelmed with shame and guilt, and realize Now, it's such a science, this Krishna consciousness, because if we think, yeah, well, I just fall down every 5 minutes and just be happy and pick yourself up and keep chanting. No. We sincerely pray to the Lord, my Lord, I'm such a fallen soul and I have so many impurities. Please stay with me. Don't abandon me. I'm going to continue to serve you and I'm here. I should be happy and continue. And Krishna will see that sincerity and he will reciprocate. And he might not reciprocate immediately. And yeah. So we're very passionate. We want immediate. You want instant coffee, we want instant bhakti, we want instant love for Krishna. It's going to take some time. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that it may take, whether you handle me roughly by your embrace or you make me broken-hearted by not being present before me in any way, I will continue to serve you because I am fixed in this understanding very clearly. So it's yeah. So please check that out. 11, 20, 27, 28 in Prabhupada's purports. Oh, it's not Srila Prabhupada's purports, but it's the purports of the previous acharyas presented by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. And they give really nice incense. Hare Krishna. And I'm getting the inspiration of some of the verses that I'm mentioning just now. It's only coming. S.P. Keshava Maharaj. I'm so inspired by that young man. I mentioned the other day that my wife and we adopted him. He doesn't know it yet. But we kind of think, oh, please look after that. He's such a wonderful soul. And my other main source of inspiration, along with Srila Prabhupada, is Vaisheshika Prabhu. He is such, I'm so inspired by his devotion to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness. So they're encouraging, just like Prabhupada would be, keep learning, and get into these books, climb into them, don't leave them, just be with them. So any other reflection, Mataji? What time does class finish normally? 8:30? 8:45. Okay, a few minutes we can.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you mentioned whether we get happiness or problems in our life, we should take it as Krishna's mercy. So I wanted to ask, when we receive that mercy, how can we be grateful to that mercy? Can you give like some practical tips that I can apply in my daily life?
Wow. When you receive that mercy, how can you be grateful? Wow. The fact that you're able to perceive that you got the mercy, that fact is quite overwhelming. If you can be really consciously aware that I got some mercy here and you can feel it, then that's you appreciating it. Yeah? And sometimes Krishna reciprocates with us. He's not going to appear generally at the foot of your bed with his flute and appear to you like that. So this is another part of this science of bhakti, is to see how Krishna is reciprocating with us. He's reciprocating with all of us. I think this was a case with Swami. One man was going to attend an interview, and it was a very important interview. So he was going into the city, and he found that there was no parking spaces, and he thought, oh gosh, I'm going to be late for this interview. I'll blow it. It's the most important interview I've ever had in my life. So he started to pray to God. He said, please God, please help me. So he went round the corner, and there was a parking space right there, and he thought, oh, I found one. He said, God, don't worry, I found one myself. So sometimes we have to slow down a little bit and see. And we're all sitting here. Why are we all sitting here? Because if If you weren't getting the mercy and taste, you wouldn't be here. You would be telling your mom and dad, I don't want to be here. You'd be rebellious. So you're getting a taste. We're all getting a taste of Krishna's mercy in so many ways. And if we can learn to see them, and then as you say, how you appreciate them, you just,
Thank you.
yeah. And share them, share all your realizations with others. That's the idea. Matchita matgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantasya tushanticha ramanticha. The thoughts of my devotees dwell in me, their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss, enlightening one another and conversing about Krishna. You have to talk about something, have to think about something. Krishna says, talk about me, think about me, you'll be happy. Talk about the stuff in the city, talk about stuff on the internet, you'll not be happy. And there's nothing else out there, nothing else. Yes, Prabhu? Please. You want to give Prabhu the mic? Although Ganasamudra generally doesn't need a mic.
Thank you.
Loud enough. Boys.
That we're in this material world, the realization that this material world, we've got to remind ourselves that actually we're in a prison house. We're all in the prison house. We're all prisoners, no matter whether we have the opulence of the earthly planets or the heavenly planets, the mystic powers of, as we've seen in the pages of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, that we're all in the prison house. And when you boil it down, that our neighbour and we may have a Rolls Royce and we have a little trash of a car, but still, he's in the prison house as well. The fact of the matter is that we're all here, and the only way that we can get out is with knowledge from a person that's already out.
Nice. Yeah, nice. We're all prisoners. Last night again, that just interesting, you mentioned a prison. I asked about Pentridge. We were talking about similar thing. You were in prison. I said, well, there used to be, is it still here? And somebody said they closed.
Closed.
They closed the prison. And then it was quite ironic, they built houses or something, and I thought, it's still a prison. Whether you're in a cell or whether you're in a house, it's the same thing pretty much.
It's still surrounded by 18-foot walls.
Yeah. You just become a A or B class prisoner instead of a C and D. So it's a prison house, yeah. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we'll finish there. Grantaraja Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.